Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Welcome back to Game Day Live from the Primetime Radio Studios here in beautiful New Jersey and somewhere in an undisclosed location in the Midwest. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, Parise of pucksandpitchforks.com. Happy Devil Saturday. Game Day Live, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Devils taking on the Carolina Hurricanes in Raleigh, North Carolina. Vinnie, is there any snow where you're at? Because there's plenty of snow outside where I'm at.
Yeah, Sam. So I actually am. I'm still right here in sweet home Chicago, just at a relative's for the weekend, doing some hanging out. There is lots of snow all over the ground, but it is not falling from the sky currently. There is a huge layer of white out there. There's actually a lot of snow out there. We got hit pretty hard earlier in the week, but it's not coming down right now. The streets are clear and life is on the easier side than it is, I would say, on the East Coast right now in terms of weather. But, it's freezing. It's like 8 degrees. So I almost would rather have snow and it be a little warmer, but it is what it is. We get the weather we get and we move on.
Yeah, right now it's partly cloudy skies, 18 degrees Fahrenheit here somewhere in an undisclosed location in New Jersey. Now, when you say relative, and your last name is Parise, and I see hockey jerseys behind you, is that your cousin Zach, by any chance?
No.
Or Jordan?
No. Definitely not. Still here in Chicago. I believe they're in Minneapolis still, except for Zach, who's over on the island right now. But nope, definitely not Zach. These are all, I'm pretty sure they're all Blackhawks jerseys, to be honest with you. I know we got some Bobby Hall, Brandon Hagel. People in my family enjoy getting jerseys of maybe guys you wouldn't consider the stars. So, there's no Patrick Kane, there's no Jonathan Taves, there's no Nico Hischier or Jack Hughes. They like the Miles Woods and the Brandon Hagels and, some of the guys who help bring the beef to the team. We like to talk about beef on this podcast. I like beef. You like beef. Nathan Bastian's helping the Devils have one of the best power plays. Guys like that,
Hey, where's the beef?
There you go. Beef. We love
Where's the beef
here. Beef. Also, you can get beef at Taj Lounge 973. They've got burgers there, right? If you haven't tried the burgers yet, try the burgers there at Taj Lounge 973. I know that I always promote the catfish, the lobster tails. I'm just a seafood guy. I like fish. I like lobster tails. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, when I make my way to Taj Lounge 973, I'm certainly, I think, going to target the catfish. I've heard so many good things about it, not just from you, but from other people who have, reached out to us and in the comments saying how much they enjoy it. So, going to do the bucket of beers and some catfish, I think, when I make my way over there for the first time. Let me know when you're coming over, Vinny, because I'll have to make my way over there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But not during the snowstorm.
Yeah. It's kind of rough, but no pun intended. Speaking of rough, Lindy Ruff, he's got his hands full with this team. Now, last game, I said this on the Woo Report. After the Arizona game, when everybody was depressed, we were giving away 2 tickets for the Devils Hurricanes game last Saturday at the Rock, and we almost felt bad that Ray Leo had won. But it turns out, 7-4 victory, the person and the company, Jonathan of JCB Architectural, was like, all right, well, we won last time. He's giving away tickets again for Tuesday's game. He's just giving tickets, and he wrote to me, and I read this on the Woo Report before. He said, hey, if the Devils are winning, well, I could give away tickets all day long. So hopefully we can ride this, good karma, this good juju, and maybe something will happen. Sunday night edition, 9 p.m. Eastern. We will have that trivia question, and we're going to play the game again. We're going to give away stuff here on the Let's Go Devils podcast. That's what we do, Vinny.
Absolutely. I'm very much looking forward to it. And Carolina, you brought up the last time that the Devils played them. It was a 7-4 victory, and they took care of their business and against a really good team. And then they have this tough stretch of games again where they're doing Tampa Bay, and then they got Carolina, and then following Carolina's 2 games against the Maple Leafs. So things aren't getting any easier, and beating some of these teams that are considered good teams are the ones that the Devils are going to have to beat. Carolina is one of the best in the league, if not the best in the league.
Now, let me tell you this. I was thinking this the other day. How many one-goal games have the Devils lost this year? Recently, it's a lot.
It feels like there's a recipe to New Jersey Devils losses lately. It's get the lead early, go up 1-0, and come out of the first period leading 1-0, and then it's like I know for a fact the other team's going to score it right not long into the second period, and then the Devils, they'll either relinquish the lead and then tie it back up, or they'll go up 2-1 and allow the other team to tie it again. And then they give up a heartbreaker, like in the final 10 minutes of the hockey game, and lose the game 3-2. I feel like that happened to against the Kings. It happened against the Lightning. So in order to keep that from happening, they don't take bad penalties at the beginning of periods, I would say is a good start. Although I do think Damon Severson's penalty that he took in their last game against the Lightning, while Cirelli was on the breakaway, I kind of think that was a smart idea, as much as I hate to admit it. But, I mean, you can't be giving up power play goals at the beginning of a period and letting all momentum swing, especially when you're playing a great team like Carolina and like Tampa Bay. And, you got Toronto coming up who has just assassins all over the ice. So I'm with you. These one-goal games have been killer this year. But if there's one positive thing to take out of all these one-goal losses, it's that, okay, a bounce here or there could flip the entire script going into next season. Hey, how do we change these one-goal games? How do we flip them around and be the one-goal game victors ourselves? So there's lots of different ways to look at it and assess it.
Now, as bad as the team has been at times, and that's the key word, at times, and losing a lot of these one-goal games with decent effort, I would say we're not that far off if you really think about it. Because the goaltending hasn't been there to our liking. The defense, a lot of the mistakes are just because of youth, because the team is at times lackadaisical. That can be corrected. You just got to, again, be more patient and sorry, I'm getting distracted here. You know why? Because I had the background music on. Did you hear the background music? It was on before.
I did not even realize I was listening to you.
I was
it's probably because I'm either talking or listening to you, and I don't know, maybe I just am unable to hear it, but no, I did not notice.
Yeah. Anyway, nobody really cares about that. But what I was about to say is you're only talking about one goal, and it could swing the momentum. And again, if you just shore up your defense and get some exceptional goaltending, this could be above 500 team. The game that they lost 5-1 against Dallas, good teams lose every once in a while like that. Every team loses every once in a while like that. But there's been so many one-goal games, and I think right now, me specifically, I've been very critical of the defense. They just got to get back to the basics here. I think they've got a lot of the tools, but it's just a matter of putting it together, and that's where their youth is being exploited right now. And Dougie Hamilton's been out.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. When they lost 4-1 to the Arizona Coyotes a couple weeks ago, that was as tough of a loss as the team has ever had, and I believe it's because of the goaltending. They had like a .677 save percentage in that game or something, and yeah, they only scored one goal, but I'm a firm believer that if the game flows in certain ways. If you have that bad of goaltending, it's hard to create offense because now you're trailing and you're playing the game differently. And so, yeah, they only scored the one goal in that game, but maybe they would have scored 4 themselves if some of the saves that really should be saves more often than not were made in that game. And, they ended up putting Blackwood on injured reserve, and Gillies has been okay. Gillies is a perfect third string goalie on a team, and he's being forced to be a starter on the Devils right now for the most part. And yeah, I'm with you. Shore up the goaltending, and it would pretty much change everything for this team going forward. And I'm not even out on Blackwood being that guy at all. Like, he's been so injured this season, and the COVID, and obviously the heel was an issue during training camp, and he missed the start of the season, but they had Bernier, so they were able to kind of mask it a little bit, and now they're down both of them. And we don't know what Blackwood is going to return this season, and we certainly don't know what Blackwood is going to come into next season, but if he can return to the Mackenzie Blackwood that I think you and I still believe that he can be, then the Devils are going to have a chance to win games.
Maybe the Devils should trade for a goaltender and trade some pieces at some point. A goaltender that's in their mid-20s, late 20s, entering their prime. You're going to pay a premium, either via trade or free agency. But, and you can't just wait for Mackenzie Blackwood to just bust out because he's been hurt. Some of it is not to his fault. And there were times when Mackenzie Blackwood played well, the defense wasn't playing well. It's never on the same page. So I think right now the Devils haven't had a goalie since Corey Schneider. And Corey Schneider was kind of – that whole situation was kind of – I don't think that should have happened, in my opinion. I think Lou was stretching it. I think Lou was thinking of the future with Corey Schneider. The problem is there was not a good team in front of him. And we can't expect Corey Schneider or any goaltender to be that durable. Right now, I think Marc-Andre Fleury is anything close to being like Martin Brodeur, because we just saw that Henrik Lundqvist just got his jersey retired, and it's tough to be like Marty Brodeur and play to the age of 43.
Yeah, and appear in a Stanley Cup final in every decade of your career. But, or every decade of your life that is of a hockey player professionally, 18 or teens, 20s, 30s, and 40s. But the thing that is interesting to me, do you trade a 7th round pick to get Marc-Andre Fleury because the Hawks are selling and to try and maybe not salvage this season, but play well and get some of the younger guys a little more confidence going forward? Do you trade with a rival in the division like the New York Rangers and try and get Georgiev because he's not going to want to be a backup his whole career? He's a pretty good goalie. He could start most places. Or, like you said, free agents are going to be available. Do you make a trade with the Arizona Coyotes for one of their guys, see what they're willing to give up, and give one of those guys a chance while you wait for Blackwood to get another chance? You nailed it right on the head with Corey Schneider. He was so good for the Devils that he might have cost them Connor McDavid or Austin Matthews in 2015 or 2016.
I've been saying that all along, and I get crap on it.
I don't get how you could get crap for it. He had a sub 2.2 goals against average and a 920 save percentage, but his record was 11, 15, and 10 or something like that. It was just he had Vezina Trophy goals against and save percentage numbers, but he never came close to winning the trophy because his wins-loss record was so bad. And, Corey Schneider was outstanding on a very, very bad team. And yeah, he made them watchable, but I almost would have rathered them be as bad as Buffalo and Arizona were in 2015. The McDavid tank was hilarious. There were 5 teams that didn't reach 60 points, but the Devils weren't one of those teams. I think they had the 8th best odds to land McDavid. That was never going to happen.
When 2013 happened, I was sitting there. Actually, it was I was with Sirius XM at the time, sitting there in New Jersey, And there was all this hype, and ninth overall pick, and then Gary Bettman's like, "You're gonna like this one," and everyone's like, "Whoa, a trade has been made." Everyone's like, "Oh," after you boo Gary Bettman, right? And then when that trade was made, people were happy because people like Corey Schneider. Me, I'm sitting in the crowd like, wouldn't you want Marty Brodeur to just play out the rest of his career the way Marty Brodeur should go out and retire as a Devil and take your lumps, knowing that Connor McDavid was about 16 years old at the time, 17 years old. He was all the hype at a young age, just like Crosby was. I remember back in the day when Crosby and Nike there was a Crosby blade and a Crosby stick, and Crosby was only like 15 years old. I don't know if you ever remember that.
Oh, yeah, I do.
And I truly believe that whole thing with Corey Schneider, you could have gotten him in free agency later. You didn't have to make that trade. And secondly, could the Devils been not even forget about McDavid? Could have been Jack Eichel. Could have been somebody else. And then or Austin Matthews. Because again, Corey Schneider was that good that he made the Devils not the worst team in the league, but they were just like in the middle of the pack. Nothing special, so to speak, in terms of getting into the playoffs. So that was the problem. And then, but he did go to the playoffs with the Devils, but by that time he was pretty hurt.
Yeah, I mean, the entire Corey Schneider New Jersey Devils tenure was handled poorly, if you think about it, because in 2013-14, which would have been his first season with New Jersey, because he came after the lockout 2012-13 season. So coming into 13-14, they probably should have played him more than Brodeur if they had him. And they probably would have made the playoffs had they used Schneider the whole year, because they just missed the playoffs that year. You might remember they went 0-12 in shootouts, and if they would have won half of them, they would have made the playoffs comfortably. Corey Schneider probably should have played that whole season. You saw the outdoor game at Yankee Stadium against the New York Rangers. Corey Schneider came in and played awesome in the third period after Brodeur really didn't look all that good in the first two periods. So that season, Corey Schneider probably should have played, and he didn't. And then when you didn't want to have Corey Schneider on your team because their team just was so bad in front of him, they had him, and it cost them maybe McDavid or even Eichel. If you're the second worst team in the McEichel draft, you get Eichel as your consolation prize if you don't win the lottery, right? So, and then by the time 2017-18 rolls around, they have rookie Hischier, and Hall has 90 points and 40 goals and all that kind of stuff. Corey Schneider's on life support in terms of his injury, and Keith Kincaid ends up playing more. So just the entire Corey Schneider Devils tenure had the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time, whether it be the Devils having an elite goalie at the wrong time or an elite goalie being on a bad team at the wrong time. It was just the entire Corey Schneider tenure. I'll remember him forever with fondness because he was a good dude and he always took whatever role he had with pride. Guy. And he was comfortable being Marty Brodeur's backup. And I remember hearing him say, whoever coach taps on the shoulder to play, he was cool with. And then once Keith Kincaid started to play a bunch of games, he was supportive of that guy. So I have nothing but love for Corey Schneider.
And don't forget, he was Jack Hughes' babysitter as well.
Exactly. He might have kept Jack Hughes from getting himself into a little bit of trouble. But, I have nothing but love for Corey Schneider. I just think when I remember his time with the Devils, I'll remember how awesome of a person he was, but I'll also remember how the Devils kind of foobarred the whole situation.
Yeah, and it was not his fault. I understand the thinking at the time, Lou Lamoriello, in terms of getting a stopgap goalie after Brodeur retired, but in my mind,
they were in the Cup final a year before.
Yeah, and in my mind, and then with the whole Kovalchuk thing, in my mind, I was thinking at the time, let Brodeur play out his career and let him go out his way. Whether you lose or he's one of those generational players that was so dedicated and devoted to the organization that you could afford doing that and look at what the Rangers did with the second tour of duty of Mark Messier. It's like, all right, well, we'll just play it. We'll play it. We made that mistake letting you go to Vancouver. We'll just play you. We'll play you, and there was no need to get Mark Messier back in 2003 or 2002 or whatever. But anyway, you're listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast, streaming live on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Live, and Twitch on the Primetime Radio Network. I'm your host, Sam Wu, here with Vinnie, as the Devils are going to take on the Hurricanes tonight in Raleigh. Mike Rossi is from Raleigh, where he moved to Raleigh. He said they just got a dusting. Also, David Decker is watching. David Decker, Town Toyota, off of Route 46 in Ledgewood. Get your Toyota. He has supplied Toyotas to the Let's Go Devils podcast family, not only to the crew, but also to Devils fans as well, in a time where there's a shortage of cars and microchips. If you need a Toyota, David Decker can get it for you. Trust me on it. That's my endorsement.
From what I've heard, David Decker is one of the great New Jersey Devils fans. I mean, how many people like this team more than him? Like us and like the guys at Pucks and Pitchforks and, certain fan groups around the league. I consider David, I've never met him personally. I don't even think I've ever talked to him, but he's just famous amongst the Devils fan base.
Did
yeah,
you know that?
Exactly. Yeah. I have known that. And I've seen him all over the place. He seems like a super nice guy. I hope I have the fortunate, pleasure to meet him one day. I would very much look forward to it. So shout out David Decker. Thank you for listening.
And this is how we would talk to you. Yo, Woo, you need a Toyota? Come over here. I got one.
I love it. That that's good car salesman. Being a car salesman is not easy. Very difficult job. Shout out to you, David Decker. Thank you for supplying the Toyota.
Like, David Decker, make me feel special. I know we're paying over sticker price because of this pandemic. Just tell them that oil changes are on us in the third year. And then it's like, it's done. It's like, all right, you made me feel special.
Yeah.
Yeah. We got to do when you come over, we should actually do a podcast from Town Toyota. By the way, they don't even sponsor us, whatever. But all I know is we wanted the Toyota. We go in there. There's 15,000 people looking at it, and it was on the showroom floor for like 15 minutes. Boom. David Decker, on his day off, comes into work, takes it off, and he's like, just make sure you get here tomorrow with a lot of money. And then you're done.
There you go. It's that simple.
Devils fans get special treatment at Town Toyota through David Decker. Trust me on that.
Very
anyway,
good.
So we got about a handful of minutes left, Vinny. Dougie Hamilton traveling with the team, I believe. No contact jersey, trying to get his stamina back. They're going to be careful. No timetable. Mikey McLeod took a big hit to the face in that fight, the valiant effort. He's out too. Do you know if there's any injury report on him, or are they even saying, or are the Devils being quiet about it?
Yeah, no, it seems to me like they're being quiet. I don't really have much on, we've laughed about it a whole bunch on this show, but it doesn't really seem like there's too much to report on that. For Dougie Hamilton, I would let him get fully rested and, get back in the lineup as good as he can be, because I believe that there's a chance that he has a chance to make a serious impact on his team. We already know that this is a lost season, and not necessarily a lost season because I think there's tremendous growth in some of the young players, but I'm not too sure that, it's going to make that much of a difference with him. I do see here that Michael McLeod is on injured reserve and not with the team, and Dougie Hamilton was there with a non-contact sweater, as you mentioned before. So, like I said, not too much of a need to rush him back because of the fact that they're not going to the playoffs or anything like that. But when he does come back, I do think he will positively impact some of the young guys and really be ready for next season. That's what I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, and right now I want to see better defense. I want the Devils to shut Carolina down. I'm tired of the sloppy plays, undisciplined. You got to be patient. You got to be patient. I know that, we make fun of David Blitzer about it, but heck, if he told the players saying, look, no more fancy schmancy stuff. Make the other team make the first mistake and then you pounce. But don't go after it so aggressively where you leave yourself wide open to get scored upon. That's why we have a lot of these shorthanded goals against us. That's why we have a lot of these issues of turnovers and giveaways. Let's be the thieves. Why don't we sit back a little bit and let them make this, force the mistakes on them and then pounce on them versus trying to get too creative in the offensive zone and lose the puck and then boom, it's the other way. And that's what has been happening. And again, I don't know if it's a difference in philosophy that I think the way the game should be played, or they're just not executing Lindy Ruff's game plan. I mean, Lindy Ruff's game plan from his previous teams has always been a lot of gallivanting and, freestyling, so to speak, and getting creative within his system. I just don't think that this team has experience yet to be playing that type of hockey. And I think it's better off right now to be better defensively and pick and choose your battles wisely when you take those risks. I'm not saying not take it at all, because that would be Jacques Lemaire's game where it's like, all right, you just wait till they make a mistake, literally. No, I mean, there are times where Jack Hughes, you know what, if he's got an opening and it's the right moment and it's about time, you could be equally as effective and score those fancy schmancy goals, but you got to get down to the basics first.
Absolutely. And they're playing a team tonight that pretty much exemplifies that to the highest degree in the NHL as a whole. So it's going to be tough to try and replicate it, but it's a good opportunity against a really good opponent to try and do everything you said. So I'm excited to see.
Yeah. All right, Vinny, your predictions tonight. We did our predictions last time, and we failed miserably. Or no, we didn't.
Yeah,
no,
it didn't go well.
I think it was against Dallas. I think Dallas, we failed miserably. I almost had it. The Devils won the last game. I almost had it.
Yeah, absolutely. You did almost have it. I'm gonna go another day of being an optimist. We'll see how I feel against the Leafs in the coming days, but for now, I'll say I'll go a 4-3 New Jersey Devils victory over the Carolina Hurricanes.
I think it's a 7-2 victory for the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they're going to blow them out. Literally.
No
pun intended.
Oh, boy.
I have to be a jerk here, because I can't. I want to be more accurate with my predictions and, being such a cheerleader all the time because everyone's like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? 7-2? Carolina's going to roll over us? Well, actually, he's probably right.
That's funny. We'll see. I hope not, but I know you hope not too, so I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. All right, I'll hit the music, but Vinny, it was definitely...
Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
We love Chico, though. We love Chico.
Yeah, I almost want to have hey, Chico, wow.
Hey, where's the beef?
That's awesome. I love that.
The old Wendy's commercials. Anyway, all right, let me play it now for real. Want to thank all those tuning in. Just remember, Devils After Dark after the game. Scotty of SiriusXM, Liquid Metal, and I will recap the game that was to see if the 7-2 prediction was real of the Carolina Hurricanes beating up on the New Jersey Devils, or was it the optimist? What was your prediction again?
3-2 Devils.
3-2 Devils of Vinnie Parise. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Vinny. This is Game Day Live. Till next time, let's go Devils.